You know, most folks think their wildest morning starts with a spilled coffee or maybe the neighbor's dog running loose. But me, I walk out one Saturday to feed my cows and bam, there's a damn wedding happening in my pasture. White tents, champagne towers, a string quartet playing Beethoven under my old oak tree, and right at the center, barking orders like she owns Nebraska, is HOA President Karen Whitmore.
Play some games.
Same Karen who once threatened to fine me for having ugly fences. Hell, the only thing ugly that morning was her attitude. So I ask what in God's name is going on, and she just smirks. Relax. It's community property now. Community property on farmland that's been in my family since before Elvis was a rumor. That's when I realized she wasn't just rude, she was going to war. And if Karen thought she could turn my land into her daughter's fairy tale backdrop without so much as a buy your leave, well, honey, she was about to learn what happens when you trespass on a farmer's patience. But hang on, I promise you by the end of this story you're going to believe in karma. Oh, and before I give you the juiciest part, tell me where you're watching from, what time it is, and smash subscribe. Because the revenge coming up, it's sweeter than homemade ice cream in August. My name's Daniel White. And this land, 200 acres of rolling pasture, old oaks and a red barn built by my granddad in '48 ain't just dirt. It's generations of pride, sweat, and the occasional stubborn cow. I've fixed every fence, milked every cow, buried every dog beneath that sky. For most of my life, peace was the loudest thing around here, just crickets, tractors, and the wind. All that changed 5 years ago when the county sold a patch next to mine. That's when Maplewood Heights HOA rolled in a cluster of shiny wannabe country homes full of people who liked the idea of the country so long as it didn't smell like it. At first I tried to play neighborly wave offer eggs, that kind of thing, but they weren't small town folks. They were city people playing dress up, buying the illusion of farm life, allergic to anything real. And among that bunch, one weed stood taller than the corn, Karen Whitmore. President of the HOA, self-appointed queen, offended by anything that wasn't beige, symmetrical, or covered in mulch. First time I met her, she rolled up to my fence in her shiny white SUV, sunglasses barely moved, and asked, "Are you aware your cows are visible from our cul-de-sac? Some residents find that unpleasant." I thought she was joking. Laughed. She didn't. That was complaint number one, the cows. After that, she filed with the county and with me about the manure smell, the rooster crowing my tractor at sunrise, even how I stacked my hay. Once she called my red barn an eyesore that lowered property values. "Lady," I said, "this barn was here before your subdivision had plumbing." But Karen wasn't used to no. Every HOA meeting she ran like a dictator, Lawn Heights mailbox colors, even what flowers they could plant. Some folks agreed with me she was unbearable, but they'd never say it out loud. See, the truth is Karen thrived on control. The HOA was just big enough for her to pretend she ran the county. My land, thank the Lord, sat just outside their border, but that didn't stop her. She once left a letter on HOA letterhead, mind you, demanding my livestock keep to acceptable community odor limits. I framed that sucker in my barn. But then a few weeks before the wedding, something felt off. Survey flags popped up near my north pasture, neon orange stakes lining up like a weird art project. So I walk over and there are two clipboard guys marking out measurements. "Morning," I said. "What's all this for?" They shuffled, nervous. We're with the Maplewood Heights Event Committee. Just assessing the field for an upcoming celebration." I laughed. "This field belongs to me, not your HOA." They packed up quick. I figured that'd be the end of it. Oh, how wrong I was. Next week I bump into Karen at the mailbox. She flashes that fake smile. "Daniel, we're planning my daughter's wedding soon. We'd love to have it with some rustic country charm. You know, hay bales, wide open fields. I'm sure you wouldn't mind helping your community." I told her straight, I don't rent my land. Never have, never will. Smile gone. "You're not being very neighborly, Daniel. Everyone benefits from Maplewood events." I said, "Funny, I don't remember joining your HOA." She muttered about greedy farmers and stomped off. Didn't think about it again until that Saturday morning. I wake up to generators and string quartet music drifting through my window. First thought, some neighbor's barbecue. But when I step outside, freeze. My hayfield is crawling with workers' white tents, lights strung from poles, tables with white cloths gleaming in the sun. There's a flower arch right in the middle of my field. So I hop on my ATV, ride down, And this ain't a backyard barbecue. This is an event. Dozens of people setting up sound systems, catering floral arrangements. Some guy with a clipboard waves at me. You're the supplier, right? The hay bales go by the arch. I slam on the brakes. I'm the owner, and you're trespassing. His face goes pale. The HOA gave full permission. And who shows up on cue? Karen latte and hand designer sunglasses acting like she's hosting the Oscars. Daniel, she sings out. Isn't this wonderful? A perfect use of all this empty space? I take a deep breath. Karen, what part of private property don't you get? She tilts her head. Oh, come on. It's community property now. We even mowed part of it for you. My daughter's getting married and this land looks so much prettier without all those cows. I stared at her, jaw tight. Get off my land, Karen. Now. She actually laughed, turned to the workers. Ignore him. He's bluffing. That's when I stopped shouting. I just smiled, pulled out my phone, and started recording every word, every smirk, every ignore him, because I knew this wasn't ending with words. That evening, I called the county, confirmed the boundaries, my fence, my deed, my rights. Karen had no legal claim, not a single inch. By the time I hung up, the sun was setting my field half covered in tents and fairy lights. My cows were pacing the edges, sniffing the trampled grass. I sat on the porch, coffee in hand, and watched as the last workers packed up for the night. They thought they'd won. But justice on a farm comes in many forms, and some of them come with 4 stomachs. So while the community event swelled, vans rolling through my gate, caterers, florists, power cables looped through my fence posts, the smell of trampled grass mixed with perfume and hairspray. My cows retreated, snorting at the invasion. I parked my truck and walked toward the mess boots, sinking into what used to be hay. A young guy with a walkie-talkie intercepted me. Sir, please step back. We're on a tight schedule. I crossed my arms. Whose schedule? Because I don't remember renting out my farm. He blinked. You're not with the HOA, nope. I own the land you're on and you're trespassing. He fumbled for his clipboard, showed me an event permit signed by who else? President Karen Whitmore. That's cute, I said. You realize an HOA permit means nothing outside your line, right? He stammered. Take it up with Mrs. Whitmore. Oh, I intend to. There she was, Karen, in all her overconfident glory, wide-brimmed hat, floral blouse, and that smirk. Well, if it isn't Farmer Dan. You're just in time for the magic. Magic, I said. You're building a fantasy on my property. You need to leave. Now. She sighed like she was explaining math to a kid. Daniel, really? The HOA voted that this is a shared buffer zone. Besides, my daughter deserves a beautiful backdrop. We all win. Lady, I said my fence is the line and that line doesn't move. Her tone sharpened. This attitude is why people complain about you. We're bringing value to this neighborhood. You're stuck in the past. Funny, I grinned. Those cows never tried to steal my land. She waved me off. Don't be dramatic. It's just one day. One day too many. I started recording again, her yelling, the workers hammering, the floral crew digging holes. You can stop filming, Daniel. You're being childish. Karen, you're standing on my property. I'm documenting theft. That's not childish, that's smart. For a second she looked nervous, but then doubled down like they always do. Fine. Record all you want. I walked back to my truck phone full of evidence. Called the county, got the parcel map, black lines, coordinates, my name over that very field. Printed it and pinned it to the fridge. Then I called Sheriff Don Mallister, an old friend. Don, I've got an HOA problem. Is it Karen again, bingo? They're setting up a wedding on my field tomorrow. He chuckled. You serious? Dead serious. Well, it's trespassing, but unless they cause damage or refuse to leave, it's mostly civil. You could press charges, but it'll take time. Time's fine, I said. Just tell me where the line is. The line's your fence, Danny. You're within your rights to protect your land. Just don't do anything stupid. Define stupid. No violence, no property damage, record everything, already on it. Didn't sleep much that night. Sat on my porch listening to the crickets, thinking about my grandfather. A man's land is his word made solid. Right then I swore no one, especially not an HOA queen, was taking that word from me. Around midnight the workers left. The tents shimmered in the moonlight. My land, my rules. Under the arch I realized Karen thought I was powerless. But quiet doesn't mean weak. It means patient. And patience mixed with a little farm ingenuity and a whole lot of manure is a dangerous thing. Back in the barn, I checked my big red John Deere in the manure spreader, topped it off with the freshest, richest pile courtesy of Daisy, my top producer. Locked up, looked out at the glowing wedding site and could already see Karen's grin fading, guests, horrified bride shrieking. Yeah, tomorrow was going to be one for the ages. Hit record on my phone whispered, tomorrow the HOA learns what farm fresh revenge smells like. Hit save, went to bed. Saturday broke warm and bright, one of those perfect days where the air smells like sunlight soil, and soon enough something else. By 7 o'clock, cars flood the gravel road, luxury sedans, SUVs with ribbons, even a white limo. Guests totter across my field in heels, complaining about the mud they're making. Watch the cow poop one squeals. I just chuckle. Karen strutting around in a pink dress, sun hat, barking orders. Her husband looks ready to dig a hole and crawl in. Get those flowers centered. Where's the cake? She never glances my way. I'm invisible, the background in her production. But invisible men make the best revenge artists. 9 o'clock orchestra starts playing violins, cello, harp echoing across my pasture. So loud the cows protest. I notice a fence post has moved 20 feet gone for a better view. My property line erased without a thought. Now I'm angry. From my window I record it all. Guests' ceremony. The bride walking down the aisle. Karen dabbing fake tears. When the officiant says, if anyone objects, I raise my coffee mug and mutter, oh, don't worry, I'll speak later. Noon the party kicks off, DJ champagne pop songs, kids running through my field, someone tossing a bread roll at my bull max. I record it all. Evidence, always evidence. About 1:30, a sheriff's cruiser rolls up. My friend Don steps out. Heard there's a dispute. I hand him my coffee. You could say that. Karen says you're harassing her event. I laugh. On my land. He checks the map. You're clean. She'll drag you to court, but you've got enough footage for a documentary. Let her. I smirk. Just don't make things worse. No promises. He parks down the road just in case. By 3 o'clock, the party is in full swing. Someone flicks a champagne cork at my cow. The cow kicks dirt. I swear I see karma warming up. And then the last straw, Karen gets on stage, microphone in hand. Before we toast, I want to thank everyone for coming and for celebrating this beautiful union at Maplewood Heights' most picturesque location. I'm so proud we turned this old farmland into something special. Old farmland. Still my farmland, lady. That was it. Her words sealed her fate. By sunset, they left the reception set up for the next day's brunch. Perfect. That night I sat in the barn, surrounded by tools, cows breathing softly, my dog Ranger at my feet. Tomorrow's going to be busy, boy, I said. He barked once, tail thumping. I filled the spreader, every last shovel of manure, thick and aromatic, almost made my eyes water. Parked the tractor facing the wedding site, a steel beast ready for justice. Sunrise. Fog barely burned off when I rolled out of bed, pulled on my old jeans, flannel boots, poured a coffee. From the porch I saw the white tent still standing. The battlefield was quiet, waiting. Time to get to work, I told Ranger. Inside the barn, hay diesel manure, the smell of honest living. Climbed into the John Deere, turned the key, engine rumbling. Drove slow toward the wedding site. At the edge I took it all in, chairs, arch buffet, flowers, rental speakers. Almost felt bad. Almost. Then I remembered Karen's smirk, and that was all the fuel I needed. Let's make it pretty, I muttered. Ease the clutch, flip the lever. The spreader roared to life. Thick, wet, glorious arcs of brown justice sprayed across the field, over the chairs, arched tables, dance floor. The smell hit instantly. I made slow circles, coating everything evenly. Sunlight glinted off the mess like dew. Ranger barked encouragement. When the spreader emptied, I surveyed my work. The pristine wedding venue now looked like a disaster movie. Brown streaks everywhere, chairs, half-buried tablecloths, sagging. It was disgusting, it was poetic, it was perfect. I parked, walked to the Whitmore wedding sign, planted it back, and hung my own private property trespassers get fertilized. Took photos for insurance and for my lawyer. By 8, the first catering van rolled in. 2 guys stepped out, then froze at the smell. Nope, not doing this one, gagged. They turned and peeled out. The florist had the same reaction. Screams, cursing, gone. Then the wedding party arrived, Karen in her white sun hat, coral blazer, still wearing that smug look. Not for long. The second she caught a whiff, her face went from smug to horror. "Oh my God," she screamed, clutching her nose. The bride shrieked. The groom swore. I sat on my porch sipping coffee, watching like it was pay-per-view. Karen stormed the field, heels sinking. "Who did this?" she yelled. I raised a hand. "Morning, Karen." She spun on me. "You animal. You ruined everything." "On the contrary," I said, "it all looks very natural." "Do you have any idea how much this costs?" she shrieked. "About one lawsuit less than you expected." I smirked. She threatened arrest. I played the video of her declaring it community property. "You gave yourself permission," I said, grinning. The crowd murmured, some guests even laughed. The bride was sobbing Karen, about to explode. "Sheriff, get the sheriff." And as if on cue, Don rolled up, took one look, and had to choke back a laugh. "Everything all right here?" he asked. "He destroyed our wedding." "Arrest him." Don looked at me. "For fertilizing his own field." "This isn't funny," Karen snapped. "Maybe next time you'll ask before throwing a party on private land," Don said. He watched the video, nodded. "You're clean, ma'am. I suggest you and your guests pack up." Karen stepped right into a fresh patch of manure. The sound was beautiful. The guests' scattered faces twisted in disgust. Cars crawling away like the end of a bad parade. The smell of justice clung to everything. Karen screamed at her phone. "Someone has to stop this lunatic," I called over. "Having trouble with the smell? File a complaint with the HOA." By afternoon, the field was empty except for Karen standing arms crossed in the wreckage. "This isn't over," she hissed. "Oh, I'm counting on it. When it is, I plan to sell t-shirts." She stomped off, leaving muddy tracks. A few days later, the video went viral. My tractor in slow-motion manure, flying caption, "Farmer teaches entitled neighbors a lesson." My neighbor Jim messaged, "She never told the board she used your land." The HOA is furious. Board meeting tonight, nuclear. By the end of the week, Karen was out as president. I got an official letter, her removal for public embarrassment. I pinned it next to her livestock complaint. Even got sued. Karen claimed emotional distress, environmental damage, and the cost of the wedding. My lawyer Franklin read it and nearly choked laughing. She wants to sue you for spreading manure on your own land. That's not a lawsuit, that is a comedy show. Her lawyer quit when they saw the videos. The case died faster than a dandelion in a drought. Soon after, a new HOA president stopped by with a pie, apologized, offered to pay for cleanup. I said, "Don't worry. The field's greener than ever." They kept to their side after that. Months passed. Peace returned. Occasionally, strangers called me a legend at the hardware store. Even the local school invited me to talk about boundaries, respect, and pride in your roots. My field, the wedding field, grew the greenest patch of grass I'd ever seen. Poetic, huh? Maybe there's something to be said for karma in the form of manure. Sometimes I stand by the fence, stare at that spot, and think about everything I learned. See, I never set out to humiliate anyone. I just wanted respect, something simple, until you're the one getting walked on both literally and figuratively. You can share a lot in life, but respect for what's yours and what's not. That's worth standing up for. Karen whirred as she moved in with her sister upstate. Maplewood Heights is happier, a little more honest, even has a community garden now. The new HOA president once told me, "We're guests in this land, not its owners." He's right. No matter how long you've been somewhere, we're all just passing through. Here's the thing, this whole mess wasn't about revenge. Not really. It was about respect. About the boundaries that keep us civil, even if some people don't want to see them. Power isn't control. It's knowing when to stand your ground and when to let go. And if someone tries to walk all over you, well, grass grows greener wherever you plant your boundaries deep. Now let me ask you, have you ever had to stand up to a Karen in your life? Where's the line between standing your ground and going too far? Tell me your story in the comments. Let's talk about what real justice smells like.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.